I'll start with the prayers. Om Ajnanaatimirandhasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamhayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminati Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam prayers. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet shanvatam swakatha krishna punya shravana kirtana hridayantastoha bhadrani vidunoti shuhatsatam nashtraprayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So let me share my screen. Share. Okay, welcome devotees to our morning Srimad Bhagavatam class at ISKCON Naperville. I'm seeking all of your blessings and prayers for me to speak something that's beneficial for you and myself. And I seek forgiveness if I shall make any mistakes. So we're reciting today from Canto 2. Chapter 7, verse number 2. Jato rucher janayat suyaman suyagna akuti sunur amaranatha dakshinayam lokatrayasya mahitam ahradyat artim swayam bhuvena manuna harir iti anuktaha. One more time. Jato rucher janayat suyaman suyagna akuti sunur amaranatha dakshinayam lokatrayasya mahatim aharad yadartim swayam bhuvena manuna harir iti anuktaha. Word to word meaning. Jataha was born, Ruchehe, of the wife of Prajapati. Ajanayat gave birth, Suyaman headed by Suyama, Suyagnaha, Suyagna, Akuti Sunuhu, of the son of Akuti, Amaran, the demigods, Atha, thus, Dakshinayam, unto the wife of the name Dakshina, Loka, the planetary systems, Trayasya, of the three, Mahatim, very great, Aharat, diminished, yet all those, Artim, distresses, Swayambhuvena, by the Manu named Swayambhuva, Manuna, by the father of mankind, Harihi, Hari, Iti, thus, Anuktaha, named. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The Prajapati first begat Suyagna in the womb of his wife Akuti, and then Suyagna begat demigods headed by Suyama in the womb of his wife Dakshina. Suyagna, as the Indradeva, diminished very great miseries in the three planetary systems, upper, lower, and intermediate. And because he is so diminished the miseries of the universe, he was later called Hari by the great father of mankind, namely Swayambhuva Manu. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In order to guard against the invention of unauthorized incarnations of God by the fanciful, less intelligent persons, the name of the father of the bona fide incarnation is also mentioned in the authorized revealed scriptures. No one, therefore, can be accepted as an incarnation of the Lord if his father's name, as well as the name of the village or place in which he appears, is not mentioned by the authorized scriptures. In the Bhagavata Purana, the name of the Kalki incarnation, which is to take place in almost 400,000 years, is mentioned along with the name of his father and the name of the village in which he will appear. A sane man, therefore, does not accept any cheap edition of an incarnation without reference to the authorized scriptures. So we are reading this chapter. Oops. So, let me see. Sorry, how do I get out of this, Prabhu? Yeah. My meeting thing. I'll stop. I'm just gonna stop share for a second. Yeah. So we're reading from this chapter 7, which is titled "Scheduled Incarnation with Specific Functions." So we heard about Varaha Deva, the form of the Lord, yesterday by Amalatmana Prabhu. And now we're into Lord Brahma is speaking to Narada Muni. And then in the end of the chapter 6, he starts telling him that I will be describing the Leela avatars of the Lord. And hearing these activities of the Lord is actually very much relished, and it's residing in Lord Brahma's heart. So he's speaking from his heart about all these incarnations. So we all know about the Dasha avatars, but in this one he mentions many more detailed about other Leela avatars. And these Leela avatars are actually, we hear that they're unlimited. They're like the waves in the ocean. So there is no way for anybody to completely and fully describe every single avatars. But the main ones, or the prominent ones, Lord Brahma is going to speak to Narada Muni about them. So in this verse, we're seeing that he's describing this avatara of Suyagna. And Suyagna also is saying as the Indra Deva, which he comes. So there is always in these we will hear the incarnation and the function of the incarnation, that the Lord is coming with a purpose. He's not just coming for the sake of it. There's always, usually most of the time we see it is to diminish the burden of the demoniac nature that is increased on the earthly planet. So as Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 4.7 that whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice, O descendant of Bharata, and a predominant rise of religion, at that time I descend myself. So Lord comes with a purpose. So in this, the purpose, let me share my screen again. So in the translation, it tells us that the Lord incarnation comes to diminish the great miseries in the three planetary systems, upper, lower, intermediate. In the purport, then next, Prabhupada tells us that in this Kali Yuga that we're living, there's so many people who wants to declare themselves as an incarnation of the Lord. People say that themselves are God. But Prabhupada in the purport is warning us, and from the beginning, actually, even in the introduction of Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada makes this point that any incarnation of the Lord is always mentioned in the scriptures, in the authorized revealed scriptures, with the name of the incarnation along with the Father and in the village where Lord will incarnate. So we need to, anytime if somebody claims themselves to be an authorized incarnation, we have to question, are they mentioned in any scriptures? Where is this reference coming from? And in the purport, Prabhupada specifically mentions about Kalki Avtara, which is the 10th incarnation of the Lord, which will be taking place almost 400,000 years from now. So we can see so this is from, this is mentioned in Canto 12, Chapter 2, text 18, I think. Yeah, so in text 18, we'll see how it is said that Lord Kalki will appear in the home of the most eminent Brahmana of Sambhala village, the great soul Vishnu Yasya. Lord Kalki, the Lord of the universe, will mount his swift horse, Devadatta, and sword in hand, travel over the earth, exhibiting his 8 mystic opulences and 8 special qualities of Godhead. Displaying his unequaled effulgence and riding with great speed, he will kill by the millions those thieves who have dared dress as kings. So it's showing exactly what Prabhupada mentioned, the name of the Lord, the Sambhala village, the Brahmana named Vishnu Yasya, and also what activities the Lord will be doing. Also, we hear, I personally have come from Gujarat and I'd never heard of Lord Chaitanya before, but and people do have, difficulty accepting Lord Chaitanya as a supreme personality of Godhead. But if we go to our scriptures and, as we can see in light of this, what Prabhupada is mentioning, in Garuda Purana on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is mentioned exactly what we should be looking for. So it says in the first part of Kali Yuga, I will appear in my complete spiritual form in Mayapura, Navadvipa, and become the son of Sachi. So anytime, and in this one, there is actually 10 different scriptural evidences given of Lord Chaitanya being the supreme personality of Godhead. So this one is the one from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.532 that we hear many times, that in the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the holy name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. So this point, Prabhupada, makes it very authoritatively, very clearly, and very boldly that anytime we hear. Recently, we had heard, I want to say just a few years ago, actually in Gujarat, there was a person who was claiming for himself to be Kalki Avtara. So once people who don't have this knowledge, they can easily get bewildered, or they can, they can accept it that, okay, maybe Kalki Avatar has come. But when we see in the light of the scriptures that one is mentioning here that the Kalki Avtara is going to take place almost 400,000 years from now. As we know, this Kali Yuga is 432,000 years long, and then we're at the beginning of it, in the just of beginning 5,000 years, or a little more has passed. So this Kalki Avatar is going to come at the end. So if somebody is claiming to be so, we can clearly, deny and declare that that is not accurate. Also, Prabhupada mentions this in many, many different places, that how there are different people who claim to be this, claim to be God. And then Prabhupada in Ishopanishad, in text 9, he gives them this specific, describes these people, this class of men. They call themselves as, or Prabhupada mentions that they're called Maya, Apaharta, Gnana, class of men. So these are self-made gods. And these such men think that they themselves are God, and that there is no need of worshipping any other god. They will agree to worship any ordinary man if he happens to be rich, but they will never worship the personality of Godhead. Such men, unable to recognize their own foolishness, never consider how it is that God can be entrapped by Maya, his own illusory energy. If God were ever entrapped by Maya, Maya would be more powerful than God. Such men say that God is all-powerful, but they do not consider that if he is all-powerful, there is no possibility of his being empowered by Maya. The self-made gods cannot answer all these questions very clearly. They're simply satisfied to have become God themselves. So this, in Kali Yuga, this is going on quite rampantly, that people wanting to become God, and they declare themselves as God. So when we hear, or when somebody mentions it, we can direct them towards these authorized scriptures, and help them become aware of that, when this is what's mentioned in their scriptures. And about this incarnation of the Lord Suyagna, I was trying to find more details about it, but I couldn't find much on it as to, just so yeah, if anybody knows more about it, or if they've heard of it, it would be nice if you can share. And that's all I have for today, devotees. But yeah, if you have anything to add or share, please feel free to discuss now. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. This is from Siddhari Das.
Yes, Prabhu.
So you're saying that there is a lot of details about this world to talk about, but hearing the Lord's pastimes relieves us from the pain and suffer.
Yes.
I'm only a little bit not clear how and what in real life or something like that could you be able to could you please shed some light on that, Mataji?
Yeah, sure, Prabhu. So, we're seeing that there is so much suffering is going on in the world. The whole world currently is such an unrest, and everybody's sort of seeking solution but we're not able to, or people are not able to find what to do to become peaceful, or how to become make their mind kind of steady and peaceful. So people are trying different ways, right? And then even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna himself has given so many different paths that one can take. But as we hear from our acharyas and Srila Prabhupada, this process of chanting and hearing in the stage of Kali Yuga is what will help one become self-realized. And just when we follow, we can all, I guess, I can personally speak, I guess, from my own life, that, just following this chanting and hearing process has really helped me, because I used to be really disturbed person, I will say. And I can really see, just following it, that how it is, I wouldn't say it has completely eradicated all the suffering. It has helped learning about the Lord and his pastimes, and most importantly, this Krishna's merciful nature. When we hear that Lord is all kind and he's merciful, it just gives that peace of mind, right? That, okay, I'm not alone. There is somebody, there is a Supreme Lord with me. And that when we can realize and put faith in it, and when we see it in our lives, then that can bring, in one sense, end to our sufferings.
So you're saying that it will not happen, right away, or just on a click. So at least the process for peace and happiness will start, and then it culminates in course of time.
Yes, Prabhu, that's what we have heard, right? That it's a gradual process. It's not, it's not right away. It's not like a click of a button. It's not like, some magic that happens right away. We have accumulated, all these coverings on our soul and our subtle body for the millions and millions of lifetime. It will take time to, gradually clear those and then come to our real self.
So, in the sense, because when we are expecting peace and happiness, we really expect the relief. So then there we need to add the little bit of faith. This is the right thing to do, and we are doing the right thing. In course of time, everything will be, complete. And we need to have a little bit patience also.
Yes, that's what, right? That's what Rupa Goswami's instruction for us is, right? A nectar of instruction to have patience, enthusiasm, and determination to continue. So, yes, Prabhu.
Ultimately, it's a package, not like, as you said, it's not a button.
Not like a one-time gift. Yeah, exactly. It's,
okay.
It's over time, course of time.
It's a faith, patience, and enthusiasm.
Patience and enthusiasm.
Okay, Mathaji. Thank you, Mathaji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, Balaram Prasad, Prabhu. You want to share something, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept Mangala obeisance, Prabhu. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you for bringing this question, Vamshadhari Prabhu. It's actually the moment you take this Krishna conscious, wow, what is it going to help us, right? So that's so my thought on this is we always look for immediate results, which we say, even if I take something, oh, I'll expect something quickly, because that is our material nature. Because we are always looking for that. Oh, if I do this, that's what I get it. It's not that, even the devotions that Mathaji mentioned, patience. But I'll tell you one thing, which I heard a few days ago. We always think about the verse, Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastra Hoy, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhi Hoy. I was thinking about this verse for a long time. What does this really mean? Sadhu Sangha means what? Is this looking at somebody who is like a sadhu, just darshan? Or lava matra means even the fraction of a second, if you associate with him, you'll get a sarva siddhi hoy. So I was married. Well, what does that mean? Because we all go there, some Maharaj comes and, all the new people will come. They don't even know ABCD. Like Prabhupada, he came, and so many souls, drug addicts, there is so many people came, and then they associated with looking at Tompkins Square Park. They all looked at Prabhupada and they all became devotees in a day one. So how is it possible? So I had this question to one of our first Indian couple, first Indian devotee who became a devotee in America. His name is Shamik Rishi Prabhu. So he said very nicely, Prabhu, Sadhu Sangha never, the hope is, what I'm thinking is hope giving is never goes waste. So that doesn't mean that even today you had an association of one sadhu today, that will never go waste. If not this lifetime, next lifetime, it's a hope that you will definitely associate with the devotees and practice Krishna consciousness. So we look for immediate result, but not really that immediate, maybe in a year or 5 years or 10 years. Even lifetime, next lifetime, you have that agnata sukruti of associating with the sadhu. So that means our life, it's in the path of progress towards Krishna. Of course, it's important for us to take as soon as possible. Prabhupada said, just hold my dhoti, I can take you back to Godhead. So that's the thing. But we are all, the hope giving, the most hopeful for me is, even if you swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayato mahato bhat, even if you take a little bit, that's definitely Krishna will never forget on your services. He is always, think about Ajamil, right? What he did 25 years of his life. Krishna sent the sadhus to his house. And how the sadhus came to their house? They said, there is any Brahmins or any sadhus in this house. The sadhus were traveling. They were asked them. Then sarcastically, the children there, they were playing around. They pointed out Ajamil's house, because Ajamil, they didn't even know. Everybody know that what Ajamil was. And sarcastically, those children who were playing outside, they pointed out the Ajamil's house. What sukruti is that? Why did Sadhu go there and name his son Narayan? See? So that's the causeless mercy of Krishna. And even if you do a little bit, a due course of time, Krishna can help any time path for that matter. So it's always a hope giving that never goes waste. Even swalpam, a little bit services. We know that even in New York City, when one devotee came with a bathroom tissue roll, bathroom roll, Prabhupada said, thank you so much. You did a wonderful service. So nothing goes waste. Even associating a little bit services, nothing goes waste. That was the hope giving for me. So I thought of sharing. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu, for such a nice sharing. And yeah, this, this associating with pure devotees is our only hope in terms of, progressing in our Krishna consciousness. Thank you so much. Okay. Any other sharings?
Hare Krishna Mata, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Guru and Gauranga.
Please accept my interpreter.
Mataji, as usual, your classes are so wonderful. Wish to hear more from you always. I was listening to the conversation between you and Vamshidhari Prabhu, and also the wonderful sharing of Balram Prabhu. My question is, the words peace, happiness is used. I would want to know what peace means and what happiness means. And then, there was also the word patience that was used. So, if you could dwell upon those three things, it will be so wonderful.
Yeah, Prabhu, that's, I think it's very difficult to define those words because, I guess I'm also searching for it myself. But, happiness, is just, in one sense, we hear that it's just when we're not suffering, right? Because we're constantly suffering, we hear there's suffering all the time that's going on. So when there is that cessation of suffering for a short time, we take it as happiness, or, we feel there is a relief from it. That's what I've understood happiness in one sense. And there is also, there is so many other terms that also define, right? Like we heard the word joy, happiness, joyful, all those terms. So, another way I've also heard or read that happiness is sometimes due to the external circumstances that bring about happiness. Something happens, in outside, like you get a new car or you get a, promotion or something like that. Versus joy is like more internal, what you feel inside. And that, when you feel more something inside, more satisfied inside, where you feel deeper connection with yourself and with God, that can bring about maybe some peace. So, those are really, I feel like, a difficult words to define, because sometimes people can also have like a very subjective as to what they feel about these. And then the patience is, basically when you're doing something, as Balaram Prasad was mentioning, that it's not going to happen like right away. Things are going to take time, but we keep doing the activity with the faith that, I will get to the end, or I will get the results that I'm seeking at the end. So keep doing the activity despite sometimes maybe not seeing the results right away in front of you. Like oftentimes, like this example of marathon, I think about it that when somebody wants to start to run this 26.2 mile race, they're not going to be able to just get up in the morning and start running that, right? So they're going to have to take training. They're going to have to work out. They're going to have to eat right. They're going to have to do all the right things to get to that result, to run their marathon at the end. So that will require for them, there is the time frame where they have to do all these activities, and then they will be able to get to the results of running the race. So similarly, where we follow the process of chanting and hearing and taking prasadam and, going to the temple, doing services, we do all those, and then in due course of time, we will, go back home, back to Godhead. So, that patience is the time frame, I guess you can say, where you continue to do these activities with faith. I don't know if that helps, Prabhu, but those are just my very basic understanding of those.
Mathaji, actually, you explained it very well. Yesterday night, I was actually reading, the 47th verse of the same chapter, and Prabhupada in the purport, he writes so nicely. I'll just read one paragraph from there, if time permits.
Sure.
Sure. The Supreme Lord is the supreme soul of everything, and therefore, in the supreme conception, affection is realized. The conception of affection is due to the relationship of the soul to soul. A father is affectionate to his son because there is some relationship of nearness between son and father. But that sort of affection in the material world is full of limitations. When the personality of Godhead is met, the fullness of affection becomes manifested because of the reality of the affectionate relationship. He is not the object of affection by material changes of the body and mind, but he is the full, naked, uncontaminated object of affection for all living entities because he is the super soul or Paramatma within everyone's heart. In the liberated state of affairs, the full-fledged affection of the Lord is awakened. As such, there is unlimited flow of everlasting happiness without the fear of it being broken, as we have experienced here in the material world. The relationship with the Lord is never broken, thus there is no grief, no fear. Such happiness is inexpressible by words, and there can be no attempt to generate such happiness by fruitive activities, by arrangements and sacrifices. So, Prabhupada goes on and on, but I was simply blown away, like I'd never seen a definition for affection, love, happiness, and all of that. So I just wanted to share that, Mataji.
Yeah, that's so deep, Prabhu. Mine was just on material basic platform, but that's so deep what Prabhupada is explaining.
Mhm.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you, Mataji.
Okay, devotees, I do have to leave now, so we will end the call here. Thank you so much all for joining and your association. Pancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhayavacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki Jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.